There was recently a bombshell document that was uncovered where an email between two Department of Air Quality employees made reference of some Stericycle higher-ups pressuring plant managers to push the incinerator to greater and greater limits despite better judgment. And the document also alluded to the notion that Stericycle had someone that they were flying around to these various locations who was assigned to, optimize stack performance before compliance tests in an effort to, skew the results essentially in their favor. And recently, state and federal criminal investigations have also been launched against Stericycle. Now, a member of your team, Bob Bocock, was recently on the record at a rally down in Salt Lake as saying the actions of this company are absolutely criminal, and before this is over, we're going to see some people go to jail for this. Who do you think could be held criminally liable in this case? Is it executives of the company, board members, or have you ever seen people actually go to jail in a case like this? I mean, one of our slogans is, why no time for environmental crime?
Right. And I think that could be a changing tide that people want to see, and that is criminal time for that crime. And that should be a very strong message to many CEOs, and it may be one way. We've never been able to get them to stop with some lawsuit and settling it for $500 million because they pay it and they just keep right on going and doing business. But it's a game changer to that CEO when it's his life and his butt on the line, and you say goodbye to your children and you spend some time in jail. And yes, we have seen that. I mean, go back to Enron and watch what happened with that debacle. I mean, CEOs in the 90s went to jail over Exide technologies. And so we are seeing that. And I am sure Bob would be referring to CEOs. When you run a company that big, you have a duty. You have an obligation to know how your company is running and to know if somebody's fudging and fibbing on test and that you're poisoning people. You can't you can't sit there and say you didn't know. I don't care if you didn't know. You should have known. And if you didn't, then you shouldn't be running a $10 billion company. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm a CEO and I see some information like that, you can just bet your butt business is going to stop until this issue is resolved and we make certain we haven't harmed anybody.
Isn't the system inherently a little bit broken there, though? Because, I mean, even as we look at the SEC, I mean, these companies are literally, mandated to have their primary modus operandi be for the bottom line, and that prime responsibility is to the shareholders. So it's like literally their duty to cut corners, to cut safety precautions, to go faster, at any and all costs, to bolster the bottom line for their shareholders. I mean, so, how do you address that issue?
Well, that's the way it's been. That's been the corporate mentality. That's that veil we're going to have to breach. And I think it will be the public sector that gets them to do that. When we start getting into these type of issues, a DOJ investigation, what the CEO knew, whistleblowers, and they do come forward, documentation, and saying paying a fine isn't just going to be enough. And this is the way corporations have worked for many, many years, and it worked for many, many years, but it's 2013 and it's not working now. Companies need to begin to change their practices and do the right thing. And you'll be better, you'll be stronger, you'll continue to make money. I don't know where this idea came from that we only make money from a lie. You will make more money from doing it right the first time. I look at PG&E. Let's all look at what happened at PG&E. They got sued for $333 million the first time, $335 million the second time. I don't know what the third lawsuit will settle for. What have they spent in defense costs? $50 million, $100 million? I mean, even the environmental impact report up in Hinckley says we're looking at another 250 years for cleanup to the tune of what? Another $1 billion? You're talking billions of dollars for doing the wrong thing, for telling a lie. I'm sorry, I don't have my degree in business, but I would think that by doing it the right way, the first way, so you don't pay out endless amounts of billions of dollars that you just wasted and destroying an environment and lives, would make you think that's the better business practice.
Right. Well, at least in their case, their feet are being held to the
Now.
fire somewhat, whereas in a lot of situations, you know, mines, for example, they've got this piddly little bond on the thing, and it's like
Right.
when it's done and over, hey, it's cheaper just to, you know, file bankruptcy and pick up
Absolutely.
and leave the mess with
and
the
that
community.
that is a state, federal, and political issue. I was over in another country, and I was listening to mines coming in, and government saying, okay, because we appreciate that. Don't think communities don't appreciate the economy. I certainly appreciate the economy. None of us, how do you think we make money? How do you think we pay our mortgages? How do you think all these people in these polluted towns who work for these companies send their kids to college? They don't want companies to go away. That's not what anybody's asking for. And somebody's got to stop making this spin because we come out and there's an environmental problem and that we're destroying and degrading the economy. It's bullshit. That's not what any of us want. And I was listening to this other government, and they said, okay, we want you to come in. There's going to be some rules and regulations, but people need jobs. And we want our community to be able to send their children to college. But you're going to put up a bond, $100 million. Because when you're done and you leave, and we're destitute, that bond will be available for this community and for us to restore the land. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You ever see anything like that happening over here? No, but maybe we should. We don't want to stop the economic wheel from going, but there's got to be a better way to keep it going, and that isn't to pollute an environment, go bankrupt. People have no jobs. We have big companies here in America that pollute and then go operate down in Mexico. Well, that's not fair either, because you are the person at hand who just took the economy away from this community and left it polluted. So there is a better way to do it. Business can do it. I think over time, the public sector is going to force them to do it. And I think we're going to watch that unfold.